And we are back, and we just finished watching Evil Dead Rise from 2023, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 36 minutes. This is written and directed by Lee Cronin, and is this a continuation of the story? Is this a reboot? What is this?
I think it's more of a reboot because the book was different, the situation was different.
And also, it doesn't have like the humor of the original Raimi ones, right?
Oh, yeah. No. The humor is completely different. Is there any relation to the remake of Evil Dead?
I don't know.
Like, because that one had the same sort of tone where it was just
darker and more macabre.
It was just, more gory and no humor.
No, it looks like the director and the writers for it were different.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was all right.
It was just okay.
It was just okay.
It wasn't scary.
No, I didn't find myself scared in the slightest bit throughout that entire movie. There wasn't even any jump scares that got me.
Yeah, it was kind of like gory.
It was very gory. It was very bloody.
But it wasn't scary.
But it was not scary. It really wasn't. And I think we were talking about it, and it's sort of like that. It kept that like sort of over the top mutilation and death sort of thing, but without the humor. It's just sort of,
what would you call it? Gore porn or
torture. It's basically sort of like torture porn with a supernatural bent to it. And I don't know. It just maybe because it's saying, oh, we're the Evil Dead, so you kind of expect that humor, and I guess you sort of. Maybe that's a shortcoming in me, the viewer, because I can't escape it. Yeah, it just didn't. It missed the mark for me. It really missed the mark for me. I mean, it's okay if it was called a completely different movie, had no connection to the Evil Dead. If there wasn't any sort of like Necronomicon sort of book with
they never call it that. They call it the Book of the Dead, right? They
give it some fancy name, but it's not the Necronomicon. And if they avoided the whole camera panning along the ground with the roar, if they avoided that, it would have just been some sort of like demonic possession horror movie. But you're using that name, and if you're using that name,
you sort of expect that humor.
It's got to have that. And so for me, honestly, Evil Dead kind of ended with the television show, the Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Which was excellent.
Which was absolutely outstanding. I mean, they nailed it. They got the humor, the gore, the slapstick, all of it. The rude humor, the Bruce Campbell. He had a great cast of supporting characters.
Lucy Lawless was great.
That hit the tone perfectly, and it was what I needed when I watched it. It's just another sort of demonic possession horror film, and it's okay, but it's not really that great. It wasn't that scary. I mean, there were some good effects.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like money was spent on this film.
Yeah, money was spent. The premise was pretty solid. They moved from the woods to a more urban area, some dilapidated apartment building made out of an old bank, I guess.
Yeah.
And stupidity reveals the Evil Dead, the Necronomicon, or whatever they're calling it in this movie. The dumb kids find the book.
Well, it was the one kid.
It was mainly the one kid, the son, who he's like, "Is this all my fault?" Yeah, it is. It's entirely, solely your fault that this is happening. They really went there. I mean, you don't really expect kids to be killed.
No.
Usually kids are like, yeah, we're plucky, and oh, look, we made weapons out of scissors and sticks and stuff like that, and now we're going to save the day.
Staffany.
But this is like a minor spoiler, but yeah, some kids get killed in this movie. Although there's also cannon fodder characters who are just who were just introduced to die, right. They indeed do get killed. There's some sort of weird bit in the beginning that was
Yes.
completely unnecessary.
Yes, and you and I discussed that as soon as the film was over. It was like they could have just nixed that whole beginning.
The whole
and started with the main players.
With the main players in the urban setting. They began the film in sort of like a wooded area with like a creepy triangular house that sort of reminded me of either Midsommar or we saw that other film that had the creepy triangular house. I forgot what it was called. It was like a foreign film, I think.
Oh,
do you remember what I'm talking about?
I think I knew. Yeah,
it was. What was it, like classic American horror film?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like almost the same thing. Was that wasn't by the people who did this, was it?
You know what? I should look. I don't know.
Because it
had a same aesthetic.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. What was that called? I have it.
I think it was called A Classic American Horror Story. We reviewed it. We reviewed that a while back. Was that Italian?
The guy was Italian. It wasn't Italian per se, but a classic horror story. That's what it was called.
Mm-hmm. Was there any connection between these two movies, like the
from 2021
directors or the set designers or something?
Like that was. I actually enjoyed that. I feel like no.
There's no connection.
The writers and the directors are all Italian.
All right. Well, I mean that kind of reminded me of the beginning. But yeah, that whole beginning just absolutely did not need to be there. They could have just went right into the film.
Yeah, I think it was extra. I mean, it was kind of silly because it's.
Were they just trying to say, okay, this is how it ends up in the woods, maybe?
Maybe, or how it just propagates. It's going to be out there because I don't know if it's a spoiler, but the record that's played basically says you can't kill it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they can only contain it, I guess.
Yeah.
Which failed because of the earthquake.
Right. And the stupid kids.
And stupid kids. But yeah, I feel a bit disappointed. I was hoping for more. I heard a lot of like good things about it, but this was just average.
Yeah,
this was
I don't know who said this was
mediocre.
You know what's so funny? Watching the trailer makes it seem like it's going to be super scary.
Yeah. But it really
wasn't.
Yeah, there wasn't a single moment where I felt even a lick of like dread.
Yeah, same.
Or any of the jump scares. Nothing made me like, nothing.
Yeah.
There was absolutely nothing. It was just, oh look, there's mom acting creepy.
I feel like we got more impact from watching From, which viewers, if you can get on that, absolutely.
Yeah, From is a good TV show.
Yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah. And there were scenes where I lifted off the couch and was like, what?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there just wasn't anything. Like even when you like moments where you're just like, what are you doing? Come on, run.
Yeah.
I never felt that. There was never a moment where I was like, come on, get out of the room, run.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was totally missing.
Yeah.
And there's usually something like that.
I was going to say, that's what you want in a horror story. You want your... what is it? Last girl standing to, you know what I mean? Like you want that feeling, that impact, that scare, because that's the thing that propels you. It's like, I'm rooting for you to get out of the woods. Yeah. I'm rooting for you to escape the crazy psycho killer. I'm rooting for you to make it to the next day.
Didn't have any of that. It was just sort of like, okay, here's the set piece. Here's the situation. One right after the other. There wasn't any like, there was no chase. I mean, I guess there was a sort of a chase towards the finale there, but even that, it was just sort of like...
It was very anticlimactic.
It wasn't even really a chase. It was just, okay, you're in this bad spot, and now you're in a different location, and you're still in a bad spot.
Right.
And I don't know. It was... and yeah, it just missed for me. It was disappointing.
So I've seen, I would say 90% of the 2016 Evil Dead that they redid. And I could say that was much like this torture porn, right? Because there's a lot of that. But I felt like that one was scarier. And I think it's scarier because of the whole, like, we're in the woods, we're by ourselves, someone just got possessed, right? So you have that element here. So my gripes were, it wasn't scary. My second gripe is, I agree with you, that whole beginning Nix it.
Yeah.
Start with what's her name coming to the building. Don't even give the backstory of the thing that happens in her first sequence. Don't even do that, right? And just when she's seeing her possessed sister, if that comes out, that could be where you sort of find out about that revelation, right?
And that's another thing. That revelation was like meaningless.
Yeah.
Nobody. That was another problem with this movie, is that none of the characters really grabbed onto you. I didn't care about the
Bridget
aunt.
or
I didn't care about
Elle or
I didn't care about any of the kids. I mean, maybe the little one, just because she was a cute little kid, and you obviously don't want the cute little kid to get killed.
Right.
But I gotta be honest, they could have killed everybody, and I wouldn't have felt bad about any of it, because none of the characters had any real nothing for you to attach to. It was just sort of like, these are random people who, I don't know. They failed to make me make an emotional connection to any of them.
What could have made this better for you?
I don't know. Maybe just better writing for the characters. To me, this felt like, all right, we have 5 characters and we're just putting them in this wacky situation. Mm-hmm. And it's sort of like, well, what makes these characters special? Why are we with them? Well, who's our point of view character? Why are we supposed to identify with this character? None of that was there. You know, I'm guessing the sister was the character that was supposed to be our way in.
Right.
And I don't know. I didn't feel that.
Yeah, I didn't really care for her. I think, like you, I agree. I think if I was going to pick a character to save from the burning building, it would be Kassie, the little one, just because she was the little one.
Yeah, like if it all came, that would have been amazing if it all came down to the little kid.
Yeah.
And you're like rooting for this little kid to just make her way out of this thing. But no, she's sort of she could have been a cat.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe I would have felt more of an attachment if it was like, oh, don't you hurt that freaking cat?
Yeah.
That's a thing. Yeah. I mean, sometimes if the dog gets killed, we riot. It's sort of like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that way about anybody. If Kassie gets killed, well, I'm going to riot. None of the characters made me feel anything. I thought maybe it was going to be the older sister, maybe, mm-hmm. because she was sort of like a bit more of like an independent spirit and whatnot. But no, it was just all right. You're just another bland character in a sea of bland characters, and we're going to do horrible stuff to you guys.
Yeah.
There was nobody there that I felt like I wanted to save.
I think that by doing it in the location, I think that didn't appeal to me. I think, again, there's something about being stuck in the dark of the woods that sort of raises the stakes here. I think I agree with you. Nix the beginning. Nix the complete beginning. Have it be the sister going to the other sister saying, okay, you know what? Your husband left you. Let's just get out of town for a couple of days, yada, yada, yada. We'll go to the cabin that belonged to our mother, right? They go to the cabin, and then you introduce the book, right? And
yeah, I guess you could have done that.
I think, and then you can incorporate even like, I don't know, visions of creepy mom, because they sort of allude to the mother a few times. So like, what's more terrifying there? Like the thing that I found terrifying about this scenario is a mother wanting to kill her children.
Yeah.
Right. That was like, work with that. Like that's the creepy thing, right? That's the thing that's got the impact.
Yeah.
So work with that.
That's the thing that like, yeah, you could really do something with that aspect of the story, that somebody who was supposed to love and protect you is now gone and replaced with this freaking monster.
Right. I mean, there's that scene towards the beginning after she gets it and she's just like, I want to cut you and live inside you. Why don't you even jump inside? Whatever she said.
Yeah, I mean,
like if it was more like that.
Yeah, I mean, she was saying creepy things and behaving in a scary way, but it just didn't work. There was just maybe it works because, like you said, it's in the woods. You got more room people could run around more, hide more.
The stakes are higher because you're
also,
isolated
maybe
in
also
the
like
woods.
maybe also just like the time scale. I mean, if things were allowed to build up, maybe this would have worked. But this was sort of just like, as soon as I guess the Evil Dead are released, it's just all right.
Right.
Now we're in evil mom territory, and we have like another hour of this. Maybe if it like just built up a bit more, had some more killings up to the whole, I guess, reveal of the evil mom. But I don't know. I still, when it comes down to it, it's just that none of the characters were interesting. They were cookie cutter. I mean, like I said, I feel like maybe they were trying to give the older sister more of a personality because, you know, she wanted to do things and she was like an activist sort of kid. But the brother, I like music. That's it.
And
That was
all into trouble.
Well, there's always stupidity. And then the little girl is just, I'm cute. And the mom is, I don't know, the mom really didn't have much of a personality. It's just, my husband left me.
Right.
Is that your entire, the defining moment of your entire life? Your husband left you?
Right.
And then the aunt is, I'm a guitar technician. Okay. You go on tour with bands and you're a guitar technician. What else is interesting about you? That's not interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in order to save this movie, it would have had to have gone through some major rewrite. I think you eliminate the beginning for sure. You start with the sister reaching out to the other sister and saying, hey, let's go to the woods and just take some time and decompress or whatever.
I don't even think the woods was necessary. I just think they needed to have actual personalities.
But this is how you do it. You start from the beginning and you lay the foundation. You give the story and you give the characters a little bit more depth. You confine them into the car so you're kind of forced into knowing who Kassie is, who Elle is, who... What was the other sister? Beth, Bridget. I forgot the boy's name, but you find out.
Dumbass.
Yeah. You find out through the journey to the cabin a little bit about each one. And then once you get to the cabin, you realize that something's amiss. And then from there, you amp it up. I think that would have worked better. I mean, you don't have to do it like Raimi and incorporate like silly violence with comedy, right? That was the thing that was so brilliant about his movies. It was like you have this horror thing, but you also have like this levity. So it sort of takes the piss out of the horror element, right? Because it's like now you're mashing it up with this like ridiculous over the top nonsense.
Splat stick.
Right. So in that sense, it's maybe more easily consumable, but here you're sticking to one genre, which is the horror genre. But what did you do exactly that's horrific? I mean, yes, there's the torture porn, right? But besides that, how did you like make this story so impactful that it's going to like grab a viewer and say, holy crap, this just happened, or that just happened? Or, I mean, again, I hate to use this guy as the gold standard here, but something like Hereditary, Ari Aster's Hereditary, it's a slow burn of a movie until that end, right? Once you get into that end, you're off to the races, but you've done all this world building in this quiet, weird way, and it works.
Yeah.
So here, I think they would have been best served doing the same. I think that if you wanted to do that, you start at a stronger place in the movie, you build it up, and then you go for broke.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
All right.
I'm just sort of overwhelmed by the mediocrity of this, and
all right, fair enough.
Just disappointed in the fact that
it's weird because I kept hearing that it was so great. It was so great, and I'm like, what was so great about it? I've just watched it, and I don't understand that.
I honestly feel that for some reason people just think creepy smile makes for a scary movie. And it's just no, it doesn't. You have to have something more. And now we're stuck in a world where dog shit like Smile makes $1 bajillion. And we just let's just rely on that. I don't know. Too many people grew up getting scared by poorly written stories on the internet, and now they're just like, just let's throw a couple $1 million in it and make a movie.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, growing up, we also were inundated with trash horror.
We were, but we also got some good stuff.
We did.
It's well, I feel like an old man complaining. I feel,
back in my day,
it was so much better. But in this case, back in my day, the Evil Dead from my day was way better.
Way better than this. Yes. And I mean, I agree with you. I mean, if you remove that element from the title and just made it something else, because again, you're not even saying the Necronomicon, you're saying the Book of the Dead. So it doesn't even have to link to the other property. You could just made your own kind of horror thing, but make it scary. That's the point of horror.
Yeah.
There's a reason why certain films stand the test of time. A film like The Exorcist from the 70s still is impactful because the story.
Yeah, and you legit care about the characters.
Yeah.
I that's the thing that seems to be bugging me the most, and I feel like I'm saying this in quite a few reviews. You got to charm me. I got to care about who I'm watching. And just saying like, oh, this is this person, and they're a mother. Oh, they're guitar tech. Those aren't personalities. Those are job titles and just positions in family hierarchies. I didn't get any sense of personality from either of these women other than the fact that their lives aren't that great, although that was a pretty nice apartment, even though it was dilapidated as it was.
And poorly lit.
That
was my other complaint. I mean, I don't know. Well, you changed the setting and you made it a tad bit better.
Yeah.
But obviously not enough to save this film. But again, and I think even though it was slightly better off the setting, still don't make it so dark. You want to see the horror. You want to see what's the thing that makes you scared.
Yeah.
Show me.
I'm not gonna. That could just be our TV settings. I'm not gonna complain about that as far as the movie goes.
No. But I'm saying, even with you kind of lighting it up and making it more readable, like the filmmaker too should do that, because it's like, I get it. It's dark and it's horror. It's nighttime, but I want to see what is the thing that goes bump in the night that's supposed to scare me. Yeah,
I mean, that didn't really. That didn't bother me as far as the monsters, because you saw them pretty clearly. It was just irritating in the other aspects of the movie where it was just, dark in general.
We've said our piece.
I think we said our piece here. We're
right,
just
1 to 10.
sort of ragging on it now. I would give it a 6.
I too would give it a 6. I think if you want to watch it, you can, but I think you're better served watching better films than this.
Just watch Evil Dead 2. Or watch Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yes. Or From.
Or From. From is more. From has no comedy.
Yeah, From is scary.
But yeah, if you want to see a scary TV show, watch From.
You want comedy with your horror? Ash versus Evil Dead.
Yeah.
With the brilliant Bruce Campbell.
But yeah, this was
disappointing.
This is just kind of average.
Yeah. It wasn't the worst thing I ever saw.
It's not the worst.
It wasn't the best.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you roll by it on cable and you haven't seen it, go ahead, watch it.
Yeah, give it a gander. It's better than Smile.
Oh my God! Yeah, I can't imagine anything. Smile was just absolute
horseshit,
just dog shit. It was a terrible movie.
Not as good as Barbarian.
Barbarian was excellent.
See,
Barbarian. You got to know the characters. You cared about the characters. You were worried about them. Even the douchebag. Like, you knew he was a douchebag, and whether you wanted him to live or you wanted him to die, you cared. I did not care at all for any of these characters. I mean, I didn't hate them. It was just sort of like, It's like when you walk down the street and strangers walk by. That's about as much emotional attachment as I developed to any of these characters.
Yeah.
And if these are the people that your movie revolves around,
right?
It's not like as though these were like ancillary characters. This was a family. I was supposed to care about them,
right?
And I didn't. I was waiting for something to happen for me to be like, oh, what a great family dynamic, or oh, this mom really that what she told her kids made me really care for her, or made my heart feel for her.
Yeah.
I could
when
relate,
sad.
and when she gets killed, or when something horrible happens, I'm gonna feel really sad, or worried, or something, And
that wasn't
this
the case.
was not the case. Barbarian, they did a great job. I cared about that girl in Barbarian.
Yeah,
I wanted her to get out of that situation, and when weird shit happened, I was just like, oh,
yes, we were.
Run, or like, what did that douchebag do? Oh my God, I can't believe he did that.
Yeah.
That was good. Go watch Barbarian instead of this.
Go watch Barbarian.
Yes.
It's still on Max. Yeah.
If you want to see some sort of like crazy horror with lots of blood and gore, Barbarian blows this movie completely out of the water.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So it's there. It's on Max if you are so inclined. Again, Evil Dead Rise from 2023, rated R with a runtime of 1 hour and 36 minutes. You're probably better off watching the originals.
Yeah.
The Raimi ones.
Yes.
All right. And that's it from us, and we will bid you all a
good night.
Good night.